Hey everyone, welcome back to Bellwright. Today we're going to be going over hunting. This will be a little mini series that we do on how to master the combat in all elements, both against animals, bandits and brigs, melee combat, and archery combined. It's important to note that for all of these kills and tips that I'm showing you, we're using regular arrows, no bronze arrows here, so that you can get the best idea of how to kill these animals, secure some more meat for your villagers, and pick up those pelts and hides that you need more of. The first animal we'll be covering will be the deer. I see most people struggling with this deer, so let me give you a couple tips. It's important to note that eye icon at the top of the screen that we're going to zoom into now. That icon is going to show you any nearby deer and their vision on you. If the eye is fully open, it means that they are within your line of sight and have peripheral vision on you. If you are within range of the deer and the eye is open, and you make any movement such as drawing your bow, drawing a shot, or moving, the deer will get spooked and run away. It is pretty much impossible and not worth shooting the deer after it gets spooked because they run very fast. If the eye is only half open, it means that the deer cannot see you at that moment. Now you can get around the eye mechanic by being outside of the range of where the deer can see you to begin with. The eye could be entirely open, but if you are further away than the deer could spot you, you can shoot and the deer won't get spooked. Now when you see a deer that's stationary and not directly looking at you, or you're further away than it, if you think you can line up a nice shot on the neck or head, take it, and if you land it, you'll one-shot kill the deer with no matter what arrows you're using. Here we secured the kill. Let's talk about the loot. Deers drop hide, which is a very valuable resource used for crafting and trading and researching. It can also be used at a drying rack to be turned into raw hide. Deers also drop raw meat and large raw meat to cook and feed your villagers or yourself. It's important to note that deers also have a very rare drop called stag horns. These stag horns can be used at a workbench along with some other various items you can see now to create a stag trophy. A stag trophy is an item that you can place down as a decoration. The deer trophy rewards 125 renown, and it looks pretty cool. Next, we're going to talk about crows. A lot of people complain about the crows too, because of just how difficult it is to shoot them, because they're constantly flying, and also being confused with the fact that there are other crows on the map that aren't necessarily real. As you can see, the green circle is indicating the singular crow that is flying in the air. These singular crows are the ones that you can kill. You'll sometimes find these flocks of large birds in a circle flying in the air. These are not killable and are purely just decoration. Don't waste your arrows on these. You may run up to the corpse of an enemy, or a crow in this case, and see that there's no loot on it and be confused. That's because in Bellwright, the loot drops are anchored to exactly where the enemy died. In this case, the crow hit the ground and bounced a few feet to the side. The loot is going to be exactly where it first hit the ground, directly above where it died in the sky. Now birds drop feathers, which are very valuable in things such as crafting bronze arrows and researching some buildings in your town. They also drop raw meat. Now I edited the footage to make it seem like I killed it in one hit, but I want to clarify that you shouldn't be discouraged if you miss your shots. You need to have a lot of space between your shots, and it's going to take a few times until you really get used to the feel of it. Again, don't be discouraged, keep trying, and eventually you'll narrow down a really good way to farm feathers for your town. Eventually, through liberation, you'll unlock vendors that sell you feathers on a daily amount, and eventually when you unlock the T2 hunting lodge for your town, you can assign villagers to hunt crows as well. It'll take their hunting skill to get up pretty high before you notice a reasonable amount of feathers, but it's worth working on. It's worth noting now how the hunting skill works in this game. When you kill an animal and loot it, you have a chance to generate more loot on the corpse. The chance of this happening is based on your hunting skill. Sometimes you'll get really unlucky and find only 2 to 3 feathers on a crow, but if you get really lucky and have your hunting skill proc, you can find upwards of 12 sometimes. Next, we're going to talk about wolves. Wolves are one of the few animals that you can see as a hostile enemy on your map and is a much easier way of tracking them. In this scenario, I see a couple of wolves up on this hill, and I take a shot. Unfortunately, I miss, but this is a good opportunity to explain how the wolves work and how they fight. When wolves come and attack you, they'll keep chasing you for about a second after, but then they'll stop. I don't know if this is a bug or an intended mechanic for those that really struggle to kill these regardless, but take advantage of this, because it's very important. When you approach a wolf close enough, it'll begin to howl. When the wolf howls, it raises its head in the air, and this is the perfect time to land a headshot. The wolf is alerting you that it's going to attack soon after. Sometimes they howl if you're close but not close enough to attack you, and they'll leave you alone, but most of the time if you hear a howl, they're coming for you. In this case, I let the wolf hit me, it stops for a second, and it gives me just enough time to land a headshot, and they're pretty much a one-hit kill to a simple arrow shot as long as it's in the upper body or the head. Now maybe you don't subscribe to the archery meta and you want to use melee instead. That can be okay. It's a really big pain in the ass to block wolf attacks. I don't even know if it's possible because I really haven't even tried it at this point. But in a pinch, they don't have a lot of defenses, so they will die pretty quickly. 3 to 4 swings, and I only have like 3 strength skill and 1 one-handed skill. So if you're focusing on that, it should be much easier for you. Wolves drop their own form of leather called pelt. Pelt is used for the same things that the previous hide we talked about is used for. And they also drop piece of raw meat. Similar to the antlers from the deers we killed earlier, wolves have a rare drop too, called the wolf fang. Now the wolf fang is special because it actually has 2 uses. The first one we'll cover is the same exact one that the staghorn provided from before, and that's creating a trophy for your settlement that'll give you a little bit of renown and put up a cool decoration. The second use of it is actually quite interesting. Every elder in the town will accept items as a form of bribe, so to speak. If you talk to an elder, you'll have the option to say, I have something special for you. This will open a trade window. They don't sell anything, but if you press the sell button at the top right, you'll see that you can give them old coins and wolf fang. Selling a wolf fang to any of the elders in the town will grant you 5 reputation towards that town. Next, we'll talk about rabbits. Rabbits are probably the easiest out of all the animals to kill. They work very similarly to deers in that if they see you, they're going to run away. You don't want to chase these down. They can be quick, and with such a tiny hitbox, it can be difficult to land your shots. But if you see one with its back turned and you can take a shot, go for it, and 9 times out of 10, even if you don't hit them in the head or the upper body, you will kill them. Just like wolves, rabbits drop pelt, and they also drop the small meat that the birds dropped earlier. There are no rare drops for the rabbit. The last animal we're going to be talking about is the boar. There's a variation of the boar that you can only find in the swamp, but we'll talk about that just after this. Boars are interesting because when they charge at you, if they miss you or hit you, they'll slow down for a few seconds because they've exerted their energy. I shoot this boar and he charges at me, and I let him come close to show you that after he reaches you, he does a little grunt and he slows down for a few seconds. This slowdown is a perfect opportunity to land a headshot on him with a bow. You could use a melee weapon, but these guys do hit significantly harder than most other animals, so I wouldn't recommend it unless you have good skills and a shield. Now sometimes they'll get the best of you, and they'll hit you pretty hard. Fortunately in this game, animals are stupid, and for some reason, I can't explain why, you can just grapple on top of trees. I don't know why you can do this. The variation of the boars that I was talking about is an interesting type called the demon boar. You can find the demon boars above Blackridge Pool in the swamp. There's nothing very important to note about the demon boars. They behave mechanically similar to the previous boar we just killed, but they have much more health and they hit a little bit harder. From my testing, I've killed quite a few of these demon boars and they don't have any different loot or any different amount of the loot that they drop. So if you just want to kill some extra boars and you don't know where to find them, you can head up to the swamp and find a few, but bring more arrows than normal because they will take about 6 to 8 shots to kill. Similar to how deer is the only animal that can drop hide, boars are the only animals that can drop fur, the third and final leather type item used in the game. They also drop raw meat, and they also can drop a large piece of raw meat, a slightly better food variant. Now boars are the third and final trophy animal, and their rare drop is the boar tusk. The boar tusk can't be turned in for any reputation with the villagers, but you can make a very cool looking boar trophy that you can see now. We'll place that down in our town, and we have a pretty cool collection going. That covers the hunting section of today's video. In future videos, you can expect me to talk about melee and directional combat, archery in general, and dealing with bandits and brigands. I hope this video helps you. If it did, consider leaving a thumbs up and subscribing if you want to see more. Thanks again for watching, and I hope this helped.